Heading 3. The cracking of the trial of doubt, when the veil thins the cracking of scaffolding. The trial of doubt, when the veil thins the cracking of scaffolding. There came a moment, not dramatic in posture but seismic in weight, when the scaffolding of my being cracked. I was not dying, but I was in dialogue with death. Not death as a void, but death as disintegration, the crumbling of identities, of certainty, of the known. The air felt dense with the taste of endings. And still, I remained. Each thought fought against annihilation. Each breath was a victory snatched from the jaws of collapse. I stood, barely, not to triumph, but to not disappear. The density of endings and lingering presence. The air felt dense with the taste of endings is a visceral image conveying the pervasive, suffocating presence of this internal transformation. An almost physical sensation of loss and finality. Yet, the most striking part that Adisa had to find or forge from the abyss profound resilience in the face of this immense internal pressure, and still, I remained. 1. The trial of doubt, when the veil thins and the cracking of scaffolding. Adisa stood at the precipice of a silence so profound it swallowed the very hum of existence. It was not the quiet of peace, but the eerie hush that precedes an avalanche, the moment before the known world gives way. The digester had offered a fleeting glimpse beyond the immediate torment, a whisper that the cage was unlocked, a creation of his own mind. But understanding and embodying that truth were two vastly different beasts. The air grew heavy, thick with an unspoken pressure. It was here, in this suffocating stillness, that the true trial began, the trial of doubt. This was no external adversary, no towering monster or impossible maze. It was far more insidious, for it lived within, a whispered, "Am I asleep, or am I awake?" that eroded the very ground beneath Adisa's feet. The veil between what was real and what was perceived thinned to gossamer. Every fear, every paranoia, previously a nagging whisper, now swelled into a deafening roar, amplified by the chilling realization that these phantoms were his own making. He was the architect of his torment, the prisoner and the warden in a solitary confinement of the mind. This was not the gentle shift of seasons, but a seismic cracking of scaffolding. The intricate structure of Adisa's being, built painstakingly over a lifetime of experiences, beliefs, and assumed identities, began to fissure. He felt it, a deep, internal tremor, not physical, but existential. It was the terrifying sensation of his inner world, once a fortress of certainty, starting to crumble. He wasn't dying in the conventional sense, his heart still beat, his lungs still drew breath. Yet, he was locked in a profound dialogue with death. Not the finality of the void, but the agonizing, slow-motion disintegration of everything he believed himself to be. It was the crumbling of carefully constructed identities, the labels, roles, and expectations he had worn. It was the erosion of certainty, that bedrock belief in the predictable order of things, replaced by a dizzying, untethered void. And most profoundly, it was the vanishing of the known, the familiar contours of his life, his purpose, his future, dissolving like smoke. The air thickened, not with dust, but with an unseen, ancient weight as the jester, a figure woven from twilight and half-forgotten dreams, leaned in close to Adisa. His voice, a rasping whisper that seemed to echo from the deepest chambers of the soul, began to unfurl. It was a melody of truth, laced with the unsettling chill of the forgotten. 2. The arrival of the jester. He comes when the hour is hollow and sleep tastes like death. Not to fight, not to save, but to mock the abyss until it stares back confused. The jester plays tunes on bones and riddles you into remembering. Doubt is a sacred right. He asks, "Are you asleep? Or are you awake?" And suddenly, you are neither. You are becoming.
Becoming. Listen closely, Adisa, the jester breathed, his words slithering like smoke into the cavern of Adisa's ear, for the grandest illusion resides not in the swirling mist of the world, but in the echoing confines of your own skull. The labyrinth beneath thought, It's all in your head, every thought, every fear, every whispered paranoia. You know this, but it doesn't matter. Because what lives in the mind feels more real than anything outside. The world may try to break you with brute force, but it can't twist the soul quite like what lurks within. The battlefield is mental, a wasteland strewn with phantom memories, tireless fears, and nightmares that wear your name. You are both prisoner and warden. And reality. A fragile construct, shattered by the lens you've built from pain. Labyrinth of shadows and illusions built brick by unseen brick by your own hand. Only you possess the cursed sight to navigate its winding depths.
Depths. A skeletal finger, unseen but felt, traced the path along Adisa's temple. But here lies the exquisite torment, the very essence of your suffering. What festers within the mind feels more real than anything outside. The world, in its crude indifference, may hurl its blunt force against you, seeking to shatter your frame. Yet, no external blow, no earthly torment, can twist the very sinews of your soul quite like the insidious horrors bred from within. 3. Our doubts, they never truly rest. They are born from the dark heart of your own being. The whisper deepened, becoming a chilling caress. There is no escape from these internal architects of dread. No frantic flight, no shadowed corner deep enough for hiding. For you, weary soul, are both the prisoner and the warden of this desolate inner realm. Reality itself. A gossamer veil, a frail construct easily torn asunder by the distorted lens through which you choose to gaze. But those who truly grasp this, those few who peer into the abyss and find understanding, they wield a power that borders on the arcane. They bend perception, twisting agony into strength, coaxing fuel from the very despair that seeks to drown them. They know the indifferent cosmos cares not for your plight, cold and uncaring in its vastness. But the mind, Adisa, the mind is a weapon. A tool, sharp enough to redefine everything it touches, to weave new tapestries of existence from the threads of agony. A mirthless chuckle, dry as old bones, escaped the jester. Within your head lies the unspeakable power to create words, to rewrite reality, to shatter limitations others foolishly believe are carved in stone. Most mortals, pitiful things, are but slaves to their thoughts, lost in the chaotic currents of their own making, terrified by the very specters they unknowingly manifest. They cower before fears they refuse to confront. But those, Adisa, who dare to master this treacherous inner landscape, they become unstoppable. Every limitation you believe to be etched into the fabric of your destiny, every boundary that binds you, is nothing more than a mental construct. A cage, woven from the gossamer threads of ideas and beliefs. And the supreme irony, the cruel jest, is this: the cage is unlocked. It was always unlocked. 4. All it demands, the jester purred, is a single, agonizing moment of clarity, a fierce willingness to stare unblinking into the void and question everything. To truly see that the walls that have held you captive, brick by agonizing brick, were meticulously built by your own trembling hands, forged from the very essence of fear and self-doubt. The external world, Adisa, need not hold you back, for you are already doing its work with chilling efficiency. The true enemy. It is that insidious part of you that clings to those self-forged chains, that whispers cruel tricks, spins captivating illusions, and entangles you in the intricate webs of your own design. His voice became a low, alluring drone. It is a beautiful, terrifying paradox, is it not? What you fear most, what your deeper self craves, what you desperately seek to avoid, all reside in the same shadowed corner of your mind. They are grand, seductive stories, the epic of failure, the tragedy of rejection, the bitter taste of defeat. And most are content, Adisa, to simply listen, to be swept away by these captivating tales spun by their own thoughts.
Thoughts. But if, only if, you can silence that clamor, if you can cleave through the intricate web of illusions and stare unflinching into the bare, raw core of who you are, then and only then, Adisa, will you begin to perceive the profound, terrifying power that lies within. Freedom, foolish one, is not some shimmering mirage waiting in a distant, unattainable dream, the jester scoffed. It is locked within the very confines of your own head, held captive by the thoughts you choose to believe or, indeed, to utterly destroy. 5. 3. The unlocked cage. Every nightmare, every doubt, every wound. They were never shackles. They were keys, forged in fear, forgotten in shame. All it takes is one brutal moment of clarity to see the walls were your own creation. You built your prison with whispers. You can tear it down with truth. Yet, how few possess the courage, the sheer audacity, to gaze upon their own demons and realize they were never truly demons to begin with. Those who dare, those who plunge into the shadow depths within and confront their own monstrous reflections, they unearth a strength that no force outside, no cosmic terror, can ever hope to rival.
The whisper faded to a faint echo, yet it resonated deep within Adisa's bones. The battle was always in the mind. The cage was always an illusion. And the treacherous, glorious path to freedom. It lies there, waiting, in the very darkest, most unsettling part of yourself. Life, Adisa, possesses a brutal simplicity, a set of options deceptively small, yet bearing the crushing weight of every decision you will ever make. 6. 3 choices, no more, no less. You can change it. You can accept it. Or you can leave it. 4. The Trinity of Liberation. Cross-swords archetype. Change. Bend reality through effort and fire. The warrior. Accept. Stare down truth without flinching. The sea. Live. Sever ties. Walk out without regret. The rebel. There is no fourth door. Those who seek one rot in indecision. Hesitation is poison. A slow bleed. A slow death. Seven. The jester's voice was now a cold, clear chime. Every torment, every struggle, every agonizing situation ultimately distills down to this primal act. Yet, mortals, in their desperate folly, dance around the edges of true choice, weaving intricate webs of indecision, clutching to the pathetic hope that somehow, miraculously, things will shift without their weary hand ever having to act. But that very hesitation, that unwillingness to choose, to commit, Adisa, is the very birthplace of your suffering. It is the slow, agonizing poison that rots ambition, the paralyzing dread that makes dreams bleed dry. Change. Or a seductive whisper, laced with both sublime danger and boundless potential. To truly change something demands strength, a ferocious will, the unyielding courage to gaze upon reality and bend it to your very design. This is the choice of the warrior, the one willing to face the roar of resistance, to clash against the relentless current and forge it anew. Change does not come easily. It demands sacrifice, a ruthless willingness to break what is, in order to build what could be. Few, so few, possess the stomach for such a feast. They look upon the mountain of effort and turn away, letting the icy hand of inertia decide their wretched fate. Change holds power, yes, but it is a power reserved only for those willing to pay its price in blood, sweat, and bitter tears. Then there is acceptance. Often tragically mistaken for surrender by those who fail to comprehend its terrifying strength. To accept, Adisa, is not to bow, not to yield, not to give in. It is to stare unblinking into the very eyes of reality and, with a voice forged in fire, declare, I know what you are, and I choose to live with it. Acceptance is a choice. A conscious act of defiance, to walk through the scorching flames unflinching, knowing that you will emerge on the other side, forged anew by the very fire that sought to consume you. It is the calm, unyielding resolve of one who understands that some battles are not worth fighting, that some forces simply lie beyond the reach of change. Acceptance, Adisa, is not weakness. It is wisdom. The grim wisdom to conserve your precious strength, to choose your wars with chilling precision, to acknowledge what cannot be moved, and to move forward nonetheless. 8. And finally, the jester's voice dropped to a grave, resonant tone, there is the exit. The code, clean clarity of simply living. To live is to tear yourself free from the binding chains, to walk away without a single glance back, to choose the bitter freedom over the soft comfort, liberation over stagnant decay. It is the path of the relentless, those who refuse to settle for half measures, who grasp the brutal truth that sometimes, the only way to truly win is to refuse to play the game altogether. To live is an act of savage rebellion, a defiant refusal to be bound by anything that no longer serves your true, dark purpose. It is the chilling courage to sever the ties that suffocate, to cast aside what no longer has a place in your unfolding, grim story. The jester's eyes, pits of ancient darkness, seem to bore into Adisa's very core. The deepest misery, Adisa, comes when mortals refuse to commit to any of these stark choices. They linger, pathetic, hoping for some imagined fourth option, an easy path that demands nothing and offers everything. They whisper for change but lack the spine to act. They despise what is, yet lack the raw strength to leave its confines. They resent their cold reality, yet refuse to embrace the liberating power of acceptance. They exist in the torment of indecision, clinging to what they despise, trapped within a cage of their own making, imprisoned by the very fear of choosing. This state of limbo, this being suspended endlessly between choices, it is the foul birthplace of the deepest misery. There is no peace in indecision, no progress, no relief, only the slow, agonizing erosion of the self. In the end, they become the tormentors of their own design, a grim punishment for refusing to embrace the brutal simplicity of life's stark choices, to change, to accept, or to live. These are the only paths. The only acts that can truly break the chains of misery. Anything else is but an illusion, a stalling tactic, a slow, pathetic surrender to a life unfulfilled. And so, the jester concluded, his voice barely a whisper, a chilling draft on Adisa's soul, standing at the crossroads of choice, torn between two paths. The instinct screams for comfort, for refuge in the seemingly easier road. But that easy road, Adisa, is a trap. A seductive illusion that blinds you to the long, skeletal shadows of regret lying in wait, poised to claim you. The mind, in its cunning, overestimates the sting of immediate pain and grotesquely underestimates the slow, creeping poison of future suffering. This is hyperbolic discounting, the mind's cruelest trickery, a sinister little dance that whispers tomorrow's pain is someone else's problem, while today's discomfort is unbearable. But those who truly understand the nature of this deception, those who can pierce through the smokescreen of ease, they know the only way forward. And it lies through the fire, not around it. 9. V. The seduction of ease. The mind deceives.